for the Rockies. We are under 9 minutes and 30 seconds on the Domino's countdown clock to first pitch. Don't forget to track your pizza delivery at Domino's.com. And today has been fun for all of us to remember baseball legend Yogi Berra. No exception on the Yogi-isms. We want to show you quick some of our favorites.
I really like it ain't over till it's over, because in sports this is so true. You could go down to the last out, the last strike, whatever it is. So that's my favorite.
Yeah, my favorite. Baseball is 90% mental, the other half is physical. It's like Yogi had two thoughts all at one time. I'm sure there's a deeper meaning in there, deeper philosophical meaning for it, but I really like that one.
I also love when you come to a fork in the road, take it. I am with Yogi on that one, and our truck voted that you should always go to other people's funerals, otherwise they won't come to yours. George seemed to like that one as well. They're taking a moment of silence here at the field for Yogi Berra. We will do the same when we return here on the Rockies pregame report. We will hand things over to Drew and George. Stay with us. Rockies and the Pirates. The Pirates' magic number down to just one. The Rockies going to try and get a win and do their part in that. And as we welcome you back to center field, Jenny Kavnar with you. You know, a couple of news and notes coming from inside the Rockies clubhouse. For more on that today, we go to our play-by-play team, Drew Goodman and George Frazier. Guys.
All right, Jenny, thanks very much. Late in the ball game yesterday, Nolan Arenado tried to make one of those patented diving stops of his. He got a piece of the baseball. Unfortunately, when he came down, his face hit that hard dirt. He was shaken up, looked to be okay, but given what the situation was in the game, Walt removed him. Not in the lineup today, but Walt said he probably would have gone if it was the middle of the season. He was looking for a day off anyhow.
Well, or if you're in the middle of a pennant race, he's in the lineup, and you're not, so why push it a little bit? He's sore, got a little stiff neck. Here's a look at it again. It hit very hard, and he was able to go ahead and recover and get a hold of the baseball. But you can see it's a face plant, more of a whiplash type thing. And that's the difficult part of it. Del Scalzo will get the start at third base tonight in place of Nolan Arenado in this ball game.
So Daniel, who's always been the good luck charm this year, Rockies way above 500 when he starts, and he'll make his 5th start at third base this evening. A couple other notes for you. It was announced before the ball game today that both John Gray and Jorge De La Rosa will not pitch again in 2015. And De La Rosa has some Achilles tendonitis. He was scheduled to go tonight. Christian Bergman's making the start, and John Gray has basically hit his innings limit.
For what they wanted to see out of John Gray, and again, that's kind of the growth. It's that added month, and we're going to put it, okay, once he gets to around 40, he's shut down. And he got his 40 innings here at the big leagues, so the next 7 days he'll be shut down and recover, get ready for spring training.
Process what he learned in the big leagues this year and take it to spring training next year. So Christian Bergman, as we mentioned, will have the baseball tonight. He's a gamer, man. I've said that about him a lot. He competes. He's always eager to take the baseball, and he'll have it tonight from the outset.
And if you're looking for stuff, don't look very far. It's not going to be there. But he's the guy that paints the outside corner. He's going to be 89, 91, 92 miles an hour. You're going to see a ton of balls on the ground. The defense will be important for him. And what I love about him, base hit, double play. He knows how to control damage during an inning and minimize his pitch count and work the hitter based upon what the hitter has shown him on the previous pitch. He's a very intelligent pitcher and knows what he's doing. It's a nice story just because a really late round draft pick that had a little chip on his shoulder just to show everybody I know what I can do. And he took advantage a year ago of some situations where guys were hurt and he got the call.
We like chip on the shoulder.
I love chip on the shoulder. I like tough guys.
Absolutely. I'm right with you on that. Well, the Rockies have lost the first 2 against the Pirates. The Pirates' magic number is 1. The Rockies will try to make them wait an evening. It's Colorado. It's Pittsburgh. Come on back to Coors Field with us. Coors Field on a Wednesday night. The Rockies and Pirates, game 3 of this 4-game set. The Pirates won last night by a final of 6-3. Very pretty evening, very pleasant outside, as Christian Bergman will be opposed by Charlie Morton this evening. Gregory Polanco is going to lead things off for the Pirates. Got a .255 average. He's turned 24 a few days ago. Here's the Southwest batting order for Clint Hurdle. In the 2 spot, Josh Harrison. He's getting to start at third base. Aramis Ramirez will be down for a couple of days with that strained groin. They want him healthy for that Cubs series over the weekend. McCutchen naturally will bat third. Starling Marte has had a big series so far. Neil Walker will bat fifth. Francisco Cervelli has swung it well in the series. He'll bat sixth. And then it's Pedro Alvarez back at first base. Jordy Mercer, the shortstop, and the aforementioned Charlie Morton.
Christian Bergman, he's making his 2nd start of the year. 27 ball games he appeared in so far. 3-0 record. He has been very good of late. As the last 11 ball games, he's got a 1-0 record with a .242 earned run average, covering 22 innings. Doesn't walk a lot of people. Going to throw strikes. Going to use a 4-pitch mix to do it.
So here we go. Ball game underway. High and away, ball 1 on Polanco. Polanco on this road trip for the Pirates is 4 for 22. And he takes inside, and it's 2-0. And the 2-0 to Polanco is not in there either, so it's a 3-0 count. Vic Carapazza became a full-time umpire in 2013. He's behind the plate. There's Vic. That's there. Ron Kolpa's at first. Larry Vanover, the crew chiefs, at second. Brian Knight at third. And it's fouled off. 3-2.
And the ability he has in the command with the cutter helps him. In this situation, 3-2 counts when placed in the right location. Harrison waiting in the on-deck circle.
This ball's hit a ton, but it's foul. Pirates have won 4 straight games. Sorry, Doug, I bumped into you there. You all right?
What are you doing down there?
I had something unplugged. I had to, I had to do a little electrical work. And that one's pulled foul. We're all right now. Give everybody a thumbs up.
I'm worried about you. I look over and I see nobody but Doug. Where'd he go?
He's under the table for a second.
He's under the counter.
And this is a bloop to shallow left, running it down, Daniel Descalso. He got to play both short and third on that sequence.
Left field.
And left field. Did a nice job. Here's the defense for the Rockies tonight. Corey Dickerson's in left. Brandon Barnes is in center now. Charlie was in the original lineup. Blackman, he has a stiff neck, so he was a late scratch. Cargo is in right. Descalso, Reyes, LeMahieu, Morneau, and Tom Murphy. It's his night to catch. They're pretty much switching game to game. Murphy and Garneau. There's Barnes, and this is going to be a tough play. No play, in fact. It rolls through the left side, a base hit for Josh Harrison.
Well, and you're playing up the middle, just took advantage of the defense, rolled it through the third, between third and shortstop, just out of the reach of Jose Reyes on the base hit into left field on the Subaru Supermo. And this is where Bergman has pitched well. Double plays. He's third in the league per 9 innings, 1.75 average per 9.
McCutchen swings at the first pitch and hits it toward Barnes in center.
What is he doing? He hadn't done that the whole series. He's walked like 7 times.
He's tired of walking, I guess. The first pitch is close, I'm firing at. 2 gone, and that'll bring up Starling Marte. Not a big fan of this stat, but Marte leads the league in it. It's called game-winning RBIs. I think it needs to be tinkered with. If you drive in a run that puts you ahead, say 7th inning on, then it should count as a game-winning RBI. But if you drive in a run to make it 2-1 in the 3rd inning and nobody else scores, yeah, you put your team in front, and good for you, but I don't think it should be called a game-winning RBI. Now, having said all of that, he has 18 of those this year, which is tops in the National League. Second, Nolan Arenado and Chris Bryant of the Cubs. Off of Murphy.
Yeah, that's why they have the other stat, average late in ball games beyond the 7th inning.
Close and late.
So that's another stat that they've thrown into the mix.
Rockies trying to avoid giving up a run in the first frame against the Pirates. They have in each of the first 2 ball games of this series.
They're 56-12 or 57-12, I think, when they score first.
Harrison takes off. This is a base hit, and Harrison will end up at 3rd base. Pirates, with 2 outs, have runners on the corners. That'll bring up Neil Walker.
Ground balls, they are going to find holes. He tried to run that cutter down and away from him. He did a pretty good job just taking the ball right back up the middle. On a base hit, 2 outs. Harrison off on the move. He's going to get to 3rd and hold things up there. Walker's had one at bat against Bergman. He walked. Walker's been swinging a hot bat of late, 8 for 22 most recently.
Swung on and missed. It's 0-1. For 19 in his last 5 starts. He had last night off. Initially, that's fouled off, so Bergman gets ahead 0-2 again.
And he's ahead in the count. The opposition has hit .210 against Bergman. When behind nearly 300. He's ahead, well ahead of Walker here.
Contingent of Pittsburgh fans here. You can hear him in the background. That's fouled off also. Neil Walker's been a part of 102 double plays this year. It's the most he's been involved with since 2011. It's part of 108.
Wait a second. You're saying he's hit into how many double plays?
No. Part of defensively.
Oh, yeah. He's at the plate. You're confusing me a little bit here. Swinging the bat.
Yeah, I could brag on his defense a little bit while he's up there.
I wasn't out in the field, and I was like, 102 double plays he's hit into?
That's a lot. That would be a problem. Runner going, no throw, and a stolen base for Starling Marte.
29 on the year now. You know, picking on the young kid, I timed Tommy at the break when he was throwing down to second. 195. Got a huge break on Bergman and allowed no throw.
Marte with 112 stolen bases in his first 3 years in the big leagues. Whatever Reyes said to him made him smile. Here's the 1-2, and this is looped. Jose can't get it. 2 runs are going to score, and for the 3rd straight ball game, Pittsburgh takes an early lead in the first frame. Thought Jose'd be able to get there. It was close, and it was just out of his reach.
Well,
coming off that left-handed bat, it's working away from him.
But part of the reason why is his positioning defensively to start out with. You can see he's in a straight line. The ball's hit out here in this area, so it's a long way to run. He's not moving off of it at all. So now it's going to flare. It's going to flare away from him. As he tried to make the move to the ball, he comes up short by about 2 or 3 inches, and it dives into the outfield for a 2-run lead.
Cervelli at the plate. Walker with 65 RBIs now. It's 2-out RBIs. Continue to be a strength of this Pittsburgh Pirate team. They're 5th in baseball in producing 2-out RBIs in terms of batting average, I should say.
What were they the other night? It was either Gray's game or the other. They had the first 5 of those 2-out RBIs in that ball game.
Yeah.
Grinding out at bats.
That's fair. Jump on it. Inning over. Cervelli tagged out. In the inning, there were 3 hits and 2 runs for the Pirates as we go to the bottom of the first. We'll see the Rockies line up beginning with Jose Reyes tonight. Charlie Blackmon again a stiff neck, a late scratch. Here's the Southwest batting order, the rest of it for Walt Weiss. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Dickerson will bat second, another left-handed bat behind him in cargo. Justin Morneau, 3 in a row. DJ LeMahieu, Tom Murphy, Descalso, Barnes, and Bergman against a guy who has a real good sinker. Charlie Morton, originally drafted out of Connecticut High School by the Atlanta Braves in the 3rd round.
He does have a heavy sinker, almost 3.13 ground ball rate. The highest, Brett Anderson, who you'll see this weekend with the Dodgers, Tyson Ross, Jaime Garcia, then Morton, and Tim Hudson, all ground ball guys. He's given not many home runs, 11 home runs. Although with all that being said, he has not pitched well. The last 5 starts on the mound, he's 1-4 with a .494 earned run average.
And the first pitch of the night is in there for a strike on Reyes.
Very over the top, exaggerated type delivery. 2 for 7 in his career versus Charlie.
Oh, 2. Reyes in the series 1 for 4. Strike 3 according to Vic Carapazza. Brought that sinker back on the inside corner.
If you have this ability, it's Greg Maddux like. Throw it right at the hitter and let it run back. Hitter's going to give up. You saw Reyes' bat start to bend backwards as if the ball was going to get him.
So here's Corey Dickerson, a career .322 hitter, batting second in the lineup. And Corey takes a big hack, as he generally does, and fouls it off. 0-1. Change up of things. Josh Harrison with the shift on it moved back, so with one strike. Usually you see some of those power guys, George, drop it down without a strike. He did it with one strike.
But it's hard to bunt a ball like that at 95 with heavy sink, because it's going to spin off your bat. That's exactly what happened.
Oh-2. He goes curveball, and this is down the line and into the stands. So Marte will return to left field, his normal spot. Pitcher courtesy takes a little walk on the mound, off the mound, let his left fielder catch his breath.
I apologize, Drew. The truck was talking to me about a shot I'm asking for. I'm going to tell you, I saw it today in BP and early in the batting practice. Wait till I show you where this ball ended up. You're going to be shocked whenever Gonzalez comes to the plate. Well, you might not be shocked because it's Carlos, but he hit this and the stadium stopped. His next round, the Pirates were on the edge of the dugout.
He can put on a show.
You wait till you see where I draw the circle on this one.
Okay.
I've only seen one other guy go the distance here.
This is backhanded by Walker, and he's going to throw out Dickerson. Let's take a look at the defensive alignment for the Pirates. Marte, McCutchen, Polanco, Harrison at third, Mercer, Walker up the middle, Pedro Alvarez struggling with the glove. 21 errors. He's at first base, and Cervelli's behind the plate. So where did he go, George?
I'm not telling you yet. I'm going to wait till this first pitch, then I'm going to tell you. I'm going to keep you in suspense. That's all I'm going to tell you. I'm going to wait till the pitch. I'm going to wait on the pitch, and then I'll tell you. I'm not going to tell you right now.
One of my favorite things to do. Watch Cargo take BP. And talk about hitting the ball for 5 miles. And he's
right. All right.
Try to bump his way
now look,
there.
Sammy, push towards that sign. Come on. Get it up here for me. All right, here's the thing about it, Drew. I hadn't seen this. I mean, I saw Bonds go above the purple line. All right, Sammy, you can freeze it right there. Right here. It hit the brick wall.
Hit the wall?
Hit that brick wall.
No way.
Yes, it did. It was ridiculous. I've never seen anything like it. I was bound to him up here. Woo! It was incredible. And then it banged around in the seats.
If that thing had landed, how far do you think that would have gone?
Well, the farthest we've ever seen, Bonds hit the purple line. He did that batting practice one day in early 2000.
Right.
He hit that purple line, which obviously that's forever. Saw McGuire hit one in a rock pile dead center. That was impressive.
Because the brick wall where Barry was one stairwell in, so he pulled it a little bit more.
Well, you look up the right field line, you see the purple line. It's going to be almost to the roof of those buildings.
So
it was a long ways, trust me.
Yeah.
I hope he hits it there again.
I've seen him, we've all seen him go upper tank, and we've seen him do it in the game too, but we've seen him do it in batting practice, 3-4 rows up in that upper deck, which is ridiculous. What you described, man, hitting that brick wall.
Yeah, it hit right. It's kind of at the base of the wall, but it hit off those bricks and then rattled back down into the seats. It was forever.
We'll show everybody who missed, Cargo. Let's go.
Yeah, go ahead right now.
Yep. 2-2 with 2 outs.
I double dare you.
And that'll end the inning. Morton strikes out Gonzalez. 2-0 Pittsburgh as we go to the second. By your hometown Toyota stores, Toyota Let's Go places. And by Southwest Airlines. Book your load fare now at southwest.com. Night at Sloan's Lake, not too far from the ballpark. 2-0 Pirates. And in the top of the second, bottom third of their order, Pedro Alvarez will be first up. Alvarez chatting up Tom Murphy. Pedro takes a strike. Big time power, to say the least. 25 home runs this year.
Bottom half of their lineup too. This adds to the potency of what they have going in Pittsburgh.
Woo! Called strike 1-2. Came up as a third baseman. That's what he played at Vanderbilt.
Difficulty throwing the ball across the field. But if you play hitter, you get to play a lot. If you're a good hitter, you're going to be in a ball game somehow, somewhere.
And this is in the air to left center field.
Never saw by Barnes. Never saw the baseball. He held out both hands. Or he did, made the play.
With one out, Jordy Mercer will come up, join in on the conversation. Send us comments and photos. Use Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, and include the hashtag Toyota Talk.
One of the hardest things for an outfielder is when you have a power hitter at the plate and it's a big swing, because a lot of times you move off that swing and your first move is back. The ball's going to get by Morneau into the outfield for a base hit. But you end up, your first instinct's to break back or move one way or the other, then you lose it in this type of sky this time of day.
Mercer at first. Charlie Morton will try to bunt him along. Morton's not much of a hitter, and he's not a great bunter either. Just one hit this year. He struggles with this aspect of the game.
Is that what you mean?
Something like that. Yeah, that's a good bunt. Morneau flip to LeMahieu for the out. Two outs. Polanco come up. Pirates got a run in the first yesterday. They got two solo home runs on Monday night in the first. They scored in the second on Monday, and they scored 2 runs yesterday in the second. They got their 6 runs last night in the first 4 innings. Rockies got a solo home run from Willeen Rosario. A couple in the fourth. They didn't do much after the 4th inning. Just one batter over the minimum. A strike on Polanco. Bergman worked on Saturday, did a really nice job. Earned the victory on Saturday, 3+ innings, and because of that, he's not going to go, even if he starts throwing up a bunch of zeros, he's not going to go real deep into this ball game.
Max, I would think 50-55 pitches.
Two outs and an 0-2 pitch on Polanco. And this one is looped to Reyes. He'll get there this time, and that ends the inning. Mercer singled. He's left at second, middle of 2. It is 2-0 Pirates.
We want you to join us for the George Frazier celebration. It's going to be in the pregame show here on Root Sports and also here at Coors Field. It's going to be fun with Root Sports and the Rockies. George, 19 years broadcasting and calling it all good. George, I am up here in the rooftop. You're telling me Cargo hit a ball up here by this wall? Back here by this wall?
Right there. Right.
This far up?
Yeah.
All the way here.
It hit up in there and it banged all over the place up there during batting practice.
The foul pole is level
yeah, it's
with
way
where
over
I'm
there.
at.
I know. Did you not get your walk in today?
I got
that's a half a mile walk.
Look, I'm looking at show the foul pole.
See that little silver thing right in front of you?
Yeah, that?
Yeah, that railing right there in front of you.
Yeah.
It hit there and it bounced and hit that and then fell down into the seats.
Careened all around here?
Yeah.
That's hard to believe.
I know. You trust me. It was when I saw it.
I wonder everybody came out and watched, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's rolled foul. So look, there's the foul pole. It's lower than where we're at. I don't know if I believe you, George.
Well, I don't have to. Just ask around.
I want that to be part of Friday night celebration.
Yeah, I want to see him hit one on Friday night. That's right.
Who's this party for?
I don't know.
Frage.
2-2. All right, Mark.
Mark, finish the walk-off.
Good curveball by Morton. He's got another strikeout. He struck out 3 of the first 4 Rockies.
And that's not necessarily what he does all the time. He struck out 90 and 122 2/3. If he gets the win tonight, it'll tie a career high. He's won 10 ball games once back in 2011. 9 wins right now.
With every challenge call, the Subaru Eyesight Review will determine the outcome. Love it's what makes a Subaru a Subaru. So DJ LeMahieu batting 5th tonight. Sit all up and down that lineup, as you know. 305 average. DJ last night 1 for 4. DJ's produced 162 hits, which is the second most ever for a Rocky second baseman. He moved in front of a guy I just saw the other day, Mike Lansing. Mike helping out at Columbine High School with their baseball program. EY senior standing and hoping to greet DJ here momentarily. 184 hits in the 96 season. That's the Rockies record for hits by a second baseman.
Yeah, really happy Laser helping out that ball club too. That's nice. Wow, big hammer. Yeah. A lot of guys give back that way. They go to work with the high school team, pick one and get after it. It takes a special head coach to say, yeah, I want all that help I can get. Get on in here. Glad Laser's doing that.
This is on the ground short. Well, Coach Gilman's been there a long time. He's produced a lot of good players, including his sons. Tommy is his son is going to be a senior middle infielder headed to Texas A&M. And CJ's now. CJ had a really nice career. He finished at Dougie's alma mater, University of Dayton. And CJ played some pro ball and then got into the coaching profession like that. And he is down at the Air Force Academy now.
Good for him.
Yep. Good to see Colorado kids doing well. Speaking of Colorado kids doing well in the sport of baseball, how about Greg Bird out of Grandview?
Oh, how about that?
Hit a 3-run home run in extra innings last night. His 10th. He has 10 home runs in his 32 or 34 games for the Yankees, like on the same kind of pace that Mickey had when he first arrived.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you can do it there, you can do it anywhere. I'm telling you. He's on the biggest stage. He's in the middle of the pennant race. Beautiful.
2 strikes on Tom Murphy.
Heavy sinker ballers, if they see a guy with a long swing, they'll bury you under your hands. Heading the count, 1 ball, 2 strikes. See if he gives him the hammer. He is. Got him.
Well, he has faced 6 batters. He's got 2 groundouts, which is his staple. He's got 4 strikeouts. 2-0 as we go to the 3rd. Mark Stat, I'm Drew Goodman. Well, last night, I'm sure you've heard by now, baseball and America lost a legend. Yogi Berra passed at the age of 90. Not just a baseball icon, an American icon. And even people who didn't follow the game learned of Yogi Berra, and probably many, George, and you were fortunate enough to call him a good friend, didn't realize how great a player he was. He's probably better known for all of the malaprops through the years.
Well, one of my proudest things I have at home is a ball signed by him and DiMaggio and Mantle that I have at home. And at an Old Timers Day, 1982, got everybody to sign it while they were there at the ballpark. It was funny, Drew, this ball was foul. Don Zimmer, who loved the horses, loved to bet them. And Don and I and Yogi on an off day one time, they said, you rent the car, you're driving. And they take me to, literally up somewhere in San Francisco in California. And it was like wood shacks you bet in. So you know we're out some crazy place. We're driving back and Yogi goes, hey, you're going to make 2 bends up here and I want you to turn right down that road. So what, do you got to go bathroom or something? I mean, we're out in the middle of nowhere. I turn right and I go down through these tall pines, redwoods, or what do you want to call them. You get down there and about halfway down I start seeing smoke. We pull in there and there's this U-shaped restaurant. He said, best barbecue anywhere. Really, in the middle of nowhere. I mean, there's not a sign on the road. There's nothing. So we walk in. I go to the left. Hey, Yogi, how you doing? Great to see you again. Come in. They start bringing food. And he goes, hey, your buddy's around the corner. Now, wait a second. Now, hold on a minute. Now, you know what? Yogi's from New York. Good pitch. Good strikeout. How many people does he know in Northern California in the middle of a pine forest at a barbecue restaurant? Bobby Knight. He's in there eating.
Is that right?
You guys got to be kidding me. How do you find this place? Yeah, it's a great day.
Well, everybody has a favorite Yogiism as Andrew McCutchen steps up. So here's some facts about his career that you may be unaware of. There's a strike. Yogi played 75 World Series games. I think a lot of people realize that more than anybody else. The active leader right now is Yadier Molina with 21, to give you an idea. Fouled off. 0-2 on McCutchen. How about this one, George? On 117 occasions, back when doubleheaders were regularly played, he caught both ends.
Oh, that was all. He always bragged to me about it. Well, you want to take the second one off? I get hits off that guy. Think about that.
Three-time MVP.
Did it 3 days in a row on those doubleheaders, by the way, in 1953. Think about that. 54 innings of baseball.
Looked like he went.
I think he went.
So Yogi has 3 MVPs.
10 World Series rings.
Yep. Campanella had 3. DiMaggio had 3. Jimmy Fox had 3. Stan Musial had 3. Albert Pujols 3. A-Rod 3. The only guy with more than 3 ever was Bonds. Barry Bonds had 7. I like. If you come to a fork in the road, take it.
Right. I'll tell you another quick funny story. We all went to the racetrack in Arlington Park one day in Chicago. And it's Lou Piniella, Bobby Mercer, big horse guys, myself, I owned some at the time, and Yogi and Don Zimmer, and there's a table. I mean, there's 20 of us here. Probably going to sneak its way through. Every single race, Yogi would just say, put 10 on number 8. That's all he'd ever say. Frazier, go put 10 on 8 for him.
On his number.
Right, I do it. So about the 8th race, Piniella just lambasted him. You got to be kidding me. Yogi finished last every time. I got the winner right here. It's number 2. Yogi, all right, here, give you 20, go bet it. 8, wire to wire.
He wasn't happy, huh?
Lou didn't come back for like an hour. He just stayed gone.
1 out, McCutchen at first. He's got 10 stolen bases. Starling Marte's at the plate. Remember, Toots Shore was a big hangout in New York, and he said, Yogi, you going there later? No, too crowded. Nobody goes here anymore.
Well, the one that probably jumps out at me, and he's said it numerous times, been used numerous times, that should always go to other people's funerals, otherwise they won't come to yours.
Makes sense.
Remember, he told me one time, Japan's not quite as far as it used to be. Did they move it closer?
Right.
He meant the planes were a lot better.
Yeah. I mean, you knew what he meant.
Yeah, I knew exactly what he meant. When you're around him 3 years, you hear it every day. I mean, yeah, 90% physical, mental, the rest is the other half's physical. Okay, Yogi. You know, he could have any car he wanted in New York to drive. Yeah, because they gave him to him.
Right.
Vega. I'll never forget it. Red Vega, vinyl seats, and he goes, hey, it's got air conditioning and AM. What else I want? Okay.
Simple guy.
Simple guy.
How about the fact that he and another, not only baseball icon, but American icon, this ball is lifted to deep right field by Walker. And this is gone. A 3-run home run. And it is 5-0 Pittsburgh. 15th home run for Walker. RBIs 64, 65, and 66.
Trying to get him out on his front foot with a changeup. Trying to put it in a very good location out of the hand of Christian Bergman on a Subaru Supermo, but it was elevated. And elevated at about 84 miles an hour. Not enough separation off the fastball, and he was able to sit on it. And drove this ball to deep right field and put the Pirates on top 5-0. And while you got a little break, as Steve Foster talks to Bergman on the mound, every year, Drew, he would get these huge moving boxes put in his locker opening day. And there was like 5 suits, 4 sport coats, slacks, shoes, socks, ties, everything to match. And everything fitted. Thanks, Yogi, for everything. Every 3 years in a row.
Really?
Yeah, all just, I mean, it was beautiful clothes. Yeah.
This is fouled off by Francisco Cervelli, a former Yankee. President Obama, as is everybody, commenting on the passing of Yogi last night. Yogi Berra was an American original, a Hall of Famer, jovial prophet, and a humble veteran. Let us not forget that. We'll miss you, Yogi, but your legacy ain't over. And Yogi, though, George, correct me if I'm wrong, he never spoke about it publicly, but he was at Normandy on D-Day.
Yes, he was. Yeah, and he wouldn't talk about it publicly either. He didn't have a lot to say about it, didn't want to discuss it.
But I was starting to say, how about, again, another American icon, baseball icon. They grew up literally across the street from one another in St. Louis, an Italian neighborhood, like on the hill in St. Louis. Joe Garagiola and Yogi Berra.
Yeah.
And again, not just, obviously Yogi had the better baseball career than Joe did, but Joe was a longtime big leaguer. And 2 of the greatest ambassadors who had larger than life personalities.
They did, very large. And of course, Joe went on to Good Morning America and, you know, doing the Game of the Week and all the other stuff. The Tonight Show. I mean, there was a number of things. Today's Show, I'm sorry. He did a number of things that he did. And he's in the Hall of Fame as a broadcaster. We used to see Joe on occasion. He would do the Sunday game in Arizona for a long time, and his health, not able to do that anymore.
Yeah, he's one of those guys you always look forward to seeing when Joe would come in and do those Sunday afternoon games in Phoenix.
I think you've heard me say many times, I loved it when Pete Sheehy, who was the bat boy when Babe Ruth got traded to the Yankees, and then Pete later became the clubhouse man for the Yankees. And I always used to go in and sit down, and I loved it about a week before Old Timers game because Whitey would be there, Mickey would be there, DiMaggio would be there. And they'd all come in early to talk to Pete, sit around the picnic tables that were in the locker room. And you could walk up, and I was always enamored with this, and I think it's missing in the game today, but I would walk up and sit down, and I'd go, hey, Yogi, or I'd go, you know, Whitey or Joe DiMaggio. What about 54? You know, how about 49? And then the stories would just start going. And I'd just sit back, and it was like story time.
Right.
Oh, man, I cherished that more than anything in the game. It was so much fun to be around those guys.
1-2 on Alvarez, and this is in the air to Barnes in center. That'll end the inning. A 3-run home run from Neil Walker, and the Pirates are up 5-0. Yogi Berra gone, but never to be forgotten. 90 years old. 5-0 as the Rockies are looking for their first base runner. Who wants tacos when the Rockies score 7 or more? Go to participating Colorado Taco Bell locations the next day between 4 and 6. Get your Rockies taco special with Moss at Taco Bell. Here's Daniel Descalso against Charlie Morton, and that's fouled off his leg. That's no fun. Well, we mentioned the 7 runs. If you score 7 in a game, not only do you get tacos, but you ought to win. Even at Coors Field, the Rockies have made a habit of scoring 7 or more runs. We looked this up earlier. Dougie did some homework on this because we were having this discussion. So when the Rockies score 7 or more, how have they done? This year, just 15 and 9. That means 9 times the Rockies have scored 7 or more runs at Coors Field and lost. So how did it compare to the 2 best seasons? 07, the Rockies were 27 and 1 at home when they scored 7 or more runs. In 09, when they won 92 games, they went 26 and 2 when they scored 7 or more. So the numbers are similar. 24 instances this year, 28 in those 2 playoff years, and the Rockies have 5 more games, including tonight at home. So, hopefully they get there a couple more times. This is going to be a tough chance for Walker. No chance. Descalso, an infield hit. But the Rockies aren't putting a stop down on the other club, and they're getting into, high-scoring affairs, and they've lost a bunch of them this year. Where normally you just score 7 at home, they're winning that game, shaking hands.
And I think part of that is the injuries to the bullpen that offset a lot of things, because normally you have a left side bullpen, right side, where you got the lead. Here's my 4 guys. We're losing. Here's these 3 or 4 guys, and I think with the injuries, losing Ottavino killed him because he did such a shutdown inning. Rex Brothers being in AAA for a while, the guys just didn't do a job in that 6th, 7th, and 8th inning consistently to be able to give that ball club when you score 7, as you said, shut down innings. There's been a lot of rotation out of the bullpen. There's no doubt. There's also some nice stories. Justin Miller, what he's been able to do. Brooks Brown, guys that you find that you normally would not find. Get opportunities.
Here's the 0-1 on Barnes, and that's slowly hit up the third base line, and Harrison makes a nice play, and Alvarez kept a foot on the bag. So going to second, Descalso, but Harrison steals an infield hit from Barnes.
I only got one choice here. You got to come hard, and you got to be able to get to the baseball barehanded and then make a strong flip throw to first base. And Alvarez able to stretch. You see it on the Subaru Supermo, that bare hand, and get a good grip on the baseball. And be able to throw the strike over with the stretch. A lot of times you grab it barehanded, you're like the little leaguer. You got a 3-finger on it.
I asked Clint before the game today, I said, what's Harrison's best spot defensively? And he said, I like him at second. He's a good second baseman. He goes, but he can play third also. He was very complimentary of Josh Harrison. And he made a really good play right there. So if the Rockies could break the ice, Bergman at the plate. And then on deck is Jose Reyes. Two on Christian. Yogi managed the Yankees to the 64 World Series and the Mets to the 73 World Series. How about that?
A lot of thoughts going towards Yogi right now while I do this telecast here in Denver. A lot of stories, a lot of times spent with him.
He and Carmen were married for, what was it, 70 years? Before she passed 2 or 3 years ago, 60-something years.
Remember one time Yogi said she took the kids to the movie to see Dr. Zhivago, and she came in the house and she said, it's a true story. She said, Yogi said, where you guys been? He had a day game at Yankee Stadium. He said, well, I went to see Dr. Chicago. And he goes, what's wrong with him now?
Bergman is going to have himself a hit. Walker kept it in the infield. And that stolen RBI from Christian. So first and third with one out now for Reyes.
And you flip to the top of the lineup. The ball hadn't left the infield, but the Rockies have benefited from it. First and third, excuse me. Could Morton have gotten a hold of that ball? He raised his glove up and he pulled it back awfully quick. Another stop by Neil Walker.
Reyes caught looking on a hip side sinker his first time up, pulled hard to Alvarez, and they'll get just one as Reyes runs well. The Rockies get a run. 5-1 as Descalso scores. 17th RBI in a Rockies uniform for Reyes.
Strange inning. 4 ground balls and a run.
Dickerson hit a ground ball to second his first time up.
Another time Yogi told me that he came in the house, he had a wall of presidential signatures. On baseballs, to Yogi, that kind of thing. And he noticed President Kennedy's was gone. He asked one of the guys, anybody know where Kennedy's ball is? Yeah, we were playing catch. Steve threw it over my head. It's in the woods. Couldn't find it. I'll get another one.
That's down the line, and it is just foul.
By about 6 inches.
I think Little League is wonderful. It keeps the kids out of the house. That's great. Hey, guys. Don't forget, you have to get up still for school.
Nah, half day tomorrow. Skip a little bit. Why not? Just stay home. Well, that's one of the things I think by the Rockies moving the game times to 6:40, 6:10. It benefits a little bit. Bring your kids, leave in the 7th or 8th, get home by 9, put them to bed, and they watch. Get up in the morning, go to school.
I still can't believe, and George, you played in New York in the early 80s. Obviously grew up there, and start times at one point were 8:30.
8:15 when I was there with the Yankees. We started at 8:15. I'd get home at 1:30 at night. It's crazy. Yeah, 8:15 starts. Well, everybody got off work, got something to eat, then they rode the subway to the ballpark.
1 ball, 1 strike on Dickerson. 2-1. Pirates in front. They've out hit the Rockies 7-2. Reyes takes off, and that's a base hit to right for Dickerson. Reyes to third. And now the Rockies have 2 on for Cargo.
That ball was a rocket to right field. This shot by Alvarez, he didn't have a chance. Trying to throw the hard sinker to the inside. Corey looking at him clear that front side, open it up to get the smart part of that bat on the baseball and drive it to the right side. Exactly what he did. Now you got first and third and a chance for some damage with Cargo up.
Playable in right center field. Got it off the end of the bat. Polanco makes the catch. That ends the inning. Rockies do get a run, and they have their first few base runners of the ball game. 5-1.
Grew up in New York, and he was a Yankees fan. So Walt talked about Yogi today.
I think when you think of him, he's been one of the great ambassadors for the sport. Very well respected, and I think when you dig into his career, truly one of the great players of all time, especially at that position. If not the best. I mean, his numbers they speak for themselves. But when you really dig in, it's really impressive.
Yeah, Drew and George, you know, Yogi passed away on September the 22nd. He made his debut on that day in 1946. First game of the doubleheader Sunday at Yankee Stadium. 2 for 4 with his first home run. Yankees won that game 4-3. So, yeah, we remember Yogi here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? I look at it, and I think you do as well, George. It's a day of celebration, and I'm glad everybody's talking about Yogi because, yeah, he's been out of the spotlight for a few years. He had a long and wonderful life and impacted so many people. I love what Jeter said on his website, or that website he's affiliated with today. He said, you know, as great a player as he was, what a privilege to know him. He said he was just a kind, sincere, wonderful person. Kind of what, you know, you've been saying about him, George. Mercer bounces this to Reyes.
Well, I mean, it sounds like beating that same drum, but that's what he was. Very kind, very generous, wonderful guy.
That's 69 years ago he made his big league debut. Two 2-0 on Morton. Morton pops it up, foul ground. Justin Morneau will have it, and 2 outs. There's a little timeline of Lawrence Berra's career. 10-time World Series champion. That's more than anybody else. In a 19-year career, he hit 285, 358 home runs for a guy who was 5'7". Behind is Joe Morgan, 1,400 plus ribbies, 72. He went into the Hall of Fame. We talked about he managed the Mets and Yankees to the World Series. In '99, he was named to the All-Century team. How many times he did Carson a bunch? He did everybody's show a bunch, right?
Well, the Aflac commercials were my fun. I love those things.
Great.
They're beautiful.
Polanco pulls it foul. Yes, foul tip, 0-2. That was in the dirt. Misses 2-2. Toronto leading the Yankees tonight in the 8th inning, 4-0. No recent word on when Tulowitzki might return. I know Troy said a few days ago that he was feeling better, but had no timeline. That misses 3-2. A cracked shoulder blade. Cardinals have 95 wins, George, your original team. And it looks like they're on their way to 96. We're up 6-0. There's a base hit.
Yeah, off the end of the bat. Polanco just made a nice swing on the ball. Pretty good path on it. Drove it up the middle. Well, Bergman had thrown 51 pitches through the first 3 innings. That's the most he had thrown since his start on April the 14th, as he sets at 67 right now. The Rockies bullpen had been idle. They may start to see action down there now.
Steve Foster jogs out. Pirates' magic number is uno. Giants are at Petco later on tonight. They had the champagne on ice last night in the Rockies visiting clubhouse. Minnesota, they're leading 4-0, bottom of 5 at Target Field against Cleveland. Atlanta looks like they're going to beat the Mets again. They're up 6-3 at Citi Field. It was 3-3. Familia gave it up in the 9th inning. Freddie Freeman just hit a 3-run home run. Harrison a single, and he was caught looking. Up by 4 runs, 2 outs. The leadoff man on, the 2-hole hitter at the plate, which is usually a good place to run. That's why Bergman's paying such close attention to Polanco. One strike on Harrison. Bergman closing in on 70 pitches.
Simone Castro is warming up down in the bullpen for the Rockies right now.
Best right-handed move to first base you ever saw. Jamie Wright?
Yeah, that came to mind immediately. Yeah, but Doyle Alexander had a really good one. Doyle cheated. You know, kind of a
moved that
heel
front
kick.
knee.
No, it's a heel kick. A lot of kids get taught at that time. You know, watch the heel of the right-handed pitcher. If he comes up on the lead leg, they've got to go to first base. He was very good, coordinated, quick with his feet, much like Jamie. Bert Hooton had a really good one to first base. Sutcliffe just put you to sleep. He'd throw 45 times over it and finally snap throw it and get you. Yeah.
Rick had good feet for a big man, didn't he?
All-state football, basketball, and baseball scholarships at Kansas in football and basketball, baseball numerous places.
Quarterback, right?
Yes, he was.
This is in the air to shallow center, and it is going to drop. And then it's overrun for a moment. No harm done. Barnes is coming full speed. When it hit, it kind of stuck in the ground. Polanco to third on the bloop single by Harrison, and here comes Andrew McCutchen.
Similar to the first inning, nothing gets hit hard. It just seems to advance and fall where nobody is, and that's exactly what happened here. Barnsley tried to pick it in case they were trying to go the other way, and then now all of a sudden you got first and third, and you're in the heart of the order with Andrew McCutchen. They've made one trip to the mound. .383 average for McCutchen with runners in scoring position and leads the National League. Drew mentioned earlier 2 out RBIs. This team is well in front of a lot of people in Major League Baseball.
Two 2-0 on McCutchen. (5-1) Pittsburgh. What's that? All the scouts are in for the Rockies, which is, you know, typical this time of year. A bunch of meetings going on, and it's always good to see those guys who do all that hard work throughout the year. That's going to load up the bases. And as McCutchen goes down to first, tell you a quick story about him. John Cederberg, who scouts Central and South Florida for the Rockies and signed the Rockies #1 pick this year. John had him.
A number of guys down there too.
Yeah, it's
David
great.
Dahl.
Sure, it's a, you know, David's out of Alabama, but you know, John saw and met with Andrew McCutchen when he was a high school kid. Comes from a great family, and he said the first time I saw him play, see this little guy get up there. It's only about 350. He said to center field, and then way out beyond the left center field wall, it is a shed about 50, 60 feet beyond the fence. Swung on and missed by Starling Marte.
Let me guess, he hit the fence, hit the building.
First pitch he saw, he hit the shed, so that got his attention naturally. Next time up, he hits a hard 2-hopper to short, and it's bang bang at first. So he said, okay, he has pop, he can run, and then he said his team was getting hit around pretty good that day, and he's out there in center field. He's running down everything in each gap, and he watched him throw during pregame and looked at him one time and said, this kid is really going to be a player. Now, there was a kind of a mix of opinions, George, because some people were worried he was too little.
Right, and that's understandable. You know, when a player's really good, they always try to find out what's wrong.
Yeah.
You know, when a player's not very good, it's easy. But I always try to look for what a guy can do versus what he can't do. Yeah. And can I teach him to be that guy that maybe helped get over the hump a little bit?
John did a good job with Brandon Rogers this year, the Rockies #1. And I know you love visiting with the scouts. I do as well. And those are the guys behind the scenes that are a lifeblood of an organization that's in the dirt. 1 and 2.
Well, they're the guy driving through midnight at the drive-through window, trying to get home by 2 or get to a hotel for the game the next day. It was a really good friend of mine, Larry Chase, that passed away. He was a New York Mets scout. He drove from Lamar, Colorado to Tulsa, Oklahoma overnight to watch Dallas Keuchel pitch in high school.
Long ride.
Yeah, all night long. Got there right before game time.
It's a good baseball town, by the way, Lamar. Good program down there at Lamar Community College. Marte with a 2-2 count, bases loaded. Marte 10 for his last 16 at the plate, including a couple home runs. There are 2 outs. And that is pulled to the left field corner, and 1 hop off the wall. 2 runs is scored. The trail runner's McCutchen. He'll stop at third. And it is 7-1 Pittsburgh. They had 9 on Monday, 6 last night, and they have 7 already this evening.
Neil Walker took the changeup to right field for a home run. The changeup to Starling Marte is more in the middle of the plate, down a little bit. He got a pretty good read on it. Hit it hard off the wall in left field. Corey's going to get Chase, keep McCutchen from scoring, and Walt's going to have to go out to the bullpen and make the switch. And again, Christian Bergman was extended very deep. 79 pitches in this ball game. 10 hits, 7 runs given up. And Simon Castro had been warming up. He'll be coming into the ball game. The Rockies trail it 7-1. And autographed items just for attending the ball game. So hopefully you'll be able to come out to the game versus the Dodgers, the last home game at Coors Field for 2015. Oh, those fries look really good. And it's your birthday. Happy birthday. You're 10? She's 10. Simon Castro is going to come, Simone Castro, excuse me, will come into the ball game. 9th game for him to throw in. 8 in the 3rd inning, 7 strikeouts, 3 walks. He'll get a left-hander to start things. They've hit 357 against Castro.
Neil Walker, a 3-run home run and a 2-run single. He's driven in 5. And he's got 2 ribbies out there. Simon Castro trying to put this inning down. Last night, the Pirates scored in the first 4 innings, each of the first 4 innings, and tonight they've scored in 3 of the first 4. You go back to Monday night, and they scored in the 1st, the 2nd, the 4th, the 6th, and the 9th. Now they've scored 12 out of 22 innings. That's not good. Fourth time in Walker's career he's driven in 5 in a game. That is his high water mark. 2 balls and a strike. Strike 2. Walker was about to throw his bat. Hold everything.
And I think you're about to call strike 3.
Yeah, I was. But I'm getting antsy.
I know.
10 hits already for the Pirates. Ball 4, and now they're loaded up for Cervelli. Three hits, 2 walks in the inning. 8th man to hit here in the 4th inning.
He's had quite a few opportunities this year with the bases loaded. And he is 2 for 12 so far. He's got 4 RBIs with those 2 hits.
Here's the 1-0 way outside, 2-0. Cervelli almost came out of his shoes, 2-1. Which, you know what hitting coaches will tell you. 2-0, 3-1. Guys on base. In this case, bases loaded. You're already up by a few. You ought to come out of your shoes.
It's where the ability to make a different pitch other than just a 4-seam fastball. Somewhere in the strike zone outside of the middle of the plate.
That's inside, 3-1. McCutchen, Marte, Walker all on base. 2 runs in the 4th already. And Cervelli swings and misses. It's 3-2.
Didn't back off the fastball. 93 miles an hour. Elevated up in the upper half of the zone.
Strike 3 on the outside corner. Cervelli, who was upset on a couple of strike calls last night, looks at Vic Carapazza. He's gone. It was on the outside edge. And Cervelli leaves them loaded. 2 more runs for the Pirates. They're up to 7-1. It's all for the Rockies. Time for you to tweet us your strongest fan photo. Use the hashtag RMDataStrongFan, and we'll try to get you into a game broadcast. It's brought to you by T-Mobile. Justin struck out swinging in the second inning. He's got a run in the third. And all three of their hits in the third against Charlie Morton. Shift is on. And this one is going to defy the shift. It goes up the middle. Morneau continues to throw out hits every night. Good to see.
Batting champion a couple of times. He does know how to swing it.
DJ takes a strike. DJ's hit a little snafu of late. 5 for 37. He and Cargo have been struggling. And look at that. Sneaks through the right side. So the Rockies with a couple men on here and nobody out for Tom Murphy. Hey, find the latest Albuquerque Isotopes jerseys, t-shirts, novelties, much more, like caps. We did at abqisotopes.com. Albuquerque Isotopes, proud AAA affiliate of the Colorado Rockies. What a great first-year marriage that was, and will continue to be.
Beautiful city, beautiful ballpark, well run. And I know the Rockies appreciate the facilities and the ability to play there, and also I think the travel is so much easier on the player out of there.
Well, that's a great block. And safe at first base is Murphy. How about that? You don't expect that from your catcher. But down by 6 runs, really good play. Real heady play also.
Clint's looking in the dugout to see if he wants to challenge the call at first base. Let's take another look at it. I just like it. First pitch sinker, hard sinker. Murphy stayed right on it. Got that back leg where he could plant, take off, and try to run up the first base line. And I got a feeling he's safe. Take another look at it right here. That's pretty close. Clint's going to pass and let it go. We'll play some baseball here. Descalso talked about his numbers when the Rockies win. Well, how about the number 667? That's what he's hitting with the bases loaded this year.
On Descalso, he had the Rockies' first hit last inning, an infield hit. Chance to get back in it, down by 6 here in the 4th. There's nobody out and the base is jammed. The other thing, George, you got Barnes on deck. After that, you're going to get a pinch hitter for Simone Castro.
And Friedrich's warming up down in the Rockies bullpen right now.
1-1.
And you got to take your shot too. I mean, you got a chance to do a lot of damage by swinging the bat with the bases loaded. If that's on the occasion is still there, man in scoring position, try to get yourself back in this game. Ben Paulson sitting on the bench, comes up with big base hits. He's a pinch hitter. Rosario's on your bench. Howard
inside. Here's the 3-1. And Daniel fouls it off. Said this on a few occasions about Descalso. Not a big guy, but he'll surprise you. He can run into one and drive it out of the ballpark. He's done it 5 times this year. Tough. Foul ball. You see that a lot with guys with good sinkers. Balls just barely nick.
Well, a lot of times it's the movement of the pitch can get flat, so you're able to nick it. Morton's got some kind of sinker. It's not easy to do what Descalso's doing right now. Hopefully he can get one in fair territory and get some runs on the board.
Ball 4, that forces in a run. Great at bat for Descalso. Morneau will score, and it's 7-2. Ray Searage going out.
You get your tickets for Fan Appreciation Day. That's the fireworks are coming up. That's going to be on Friday here at the ballpark. Dodgers' first game of the series in town. Rockies.com/fireworks. Friday night, September the 25th. Now, one thing you hate as a starting pitcher, your team stake you to a 7-1 lead, and then grant you the balls haven't been hit particularly hard. But 3 straight singles by the Rockies. You walk in a run, you got nobody out, and explosions could start to happen. Clint's managed in here enough to know that.
Barnes hits it to third. Harrison will come home. And for a moment, Cervelli forgot what he was doing. All he had to do was touch the plate.
The throw was offline, which took him way out in front of home plate. And so when he realized that, he didn't know how close the runner was. He wanted to make sure he caught the baseball in case he had to reach back to tag. You're going to see here, watch the throw come in from Harrison. He's going to get underneath the ball. Then it's going to be high and away from him. And then that's when he just said, all right. DJ didn't know if he was on top of him or where he was.
Yep, I think you're right. That's a better description of it. So 1 out, bases loaded. And Ben Paulson will pinch hit.
Paulson's had 4 opportunities like this. It was 2 for 4 so far with the bases loaded this year.
Not getting as many at bats with the return of Morneau. Made a nice impression here in 2014 or 2015. And that's grounded foul, so it's a 2-strike count. Ben 2 for his last 20 at the plate. 3. And they're 2 outs.
That's twice now. They got Jose Reyes in the first inning. Now he's going to get Ben Polson. One more look at this. They're asking for that pitch in, and it looked like it. From there, it looked like a pretty good pitch. Polson thought it was in. It was in. It was in about 3 inches. Ben, I agree with you, but I can't go argue for you. Well, I can up here.
Hopping out of the way is Reyes. After this half inning, Walt Weiss, being Wednesday at home, will join us from the Rockies dugout. Murphy at third, there's Calso at second, Barnes at first, and this is going to end the inning. Well, the Rockies get a run, but that's disappointing. They had the bases loaded, nobody out, and get just a single run. They trail 7-2. Walt Weiss nice enough to join us for a couple of moments. Well, Tom Murphy, that last inning, I thought that was a really shrewd play. You guys are down by a bunch of runs, and he decides to lay down a bunt. People didn't know probably that he had it in his arsenal. I like that play.
Yeah, you know, we need base runners. We talked about before the inning started, we need base runners. We got the base runners. We didn't cash in. Would have liked to get a few more in that inning.
Well, and I know with the injury to De La Rosa, the injury to, or the ending of John Gray, it makes it hard on you when you get a big inning like this against Bergman, and now you got to filter your way through the bullpen and not try to, even though it's a big bullpen wall, it's still not easy.
Yeah, it's not as big as it was a few days ago because a couple of our long guys are now in the rotation, so it looks a lot different out there now. So we're trying to work our way through it.
How do the catchers look? We mentioned Murphy and Garnell kind of going every other day. First opportunity to play at this level.
Yeah, both guys are doing a great job. Really have a handle on the game and working with the pitcher. You know what, staying out in front of things for 2 young catchers. They're doing a heck of a job.
Hey, Walt, good luck the rest of the way. We appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
So Christian Friedrich will take over here in the 5th inning with the Rockies trailing 7-2.
I'm glad. Well, you know what, and that's, folks, that's not easy for Walt to walk over here and do that interview. Your club's getting beat 7-2. It hasn't been that great of a year, and I commend Walt for walking over here and giving us that half inning to visit with us. Christian Friedrich in the ball game, 65 appearances now, 0-4 record, mid 5 ERA, 5.37. Trying to work his way through this lineup. Pedro Alvarez, the left-handed hitting Alvarez, he struck him out the other night in the ball game.
Simon Castro works a 1/3 of an inning, a walk and a strikeout. Alvarez behind 0-2 to Christian. Bergman goes 3 2/3, and Christian allows 7 runs on 10 hits. He walked 1 and struck out 1. And he strikes out Alvarez. Let's go and find Mark Stout again. Mark, what's going on?
Hey, George, last night I think you mentioned that the Rockies have used 30 pitchers this season, and that ties the team record, right?
Yes, that does.
So I was looking at the pitchers used. Do you know that Christian Friedrich is the only pitcher that hasn't been at AAA or optioned out for any reason and has not been on the DL or the bereavement list this year? The only one. He's the only guy that's been up and hasn't had any transactions.
So 29 other guys have visited DL or Albuquerque.
Jordy Mercer with a double. Doubles for Mercer. He's hit better than 380 in his career against the Rockies. Charlie Morton coming up. Sack, bunt, and a foul out. How about the Pirates, George? 25-6 against the NL West. You have the defending world champs in the division last time I checked.
I'm trying to think.
You have the Dodgers in the division.
Of the 6 losses, was it Kershaw, Greinke, Bumgarner?
Well, no, they beat Kershaw the other day.
I know, but at some point they played him twice. They play home and road. They might have got him once or twice.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Back in Pittsburgh. That's right. Home and home. Yeah. This is a foul ball. Greinke got scratched tonight. You see that with the calf?
Mets got beat tonight by Atlanta 6-3.
It's the all-time best winning percentages in a single season against the West. The Braves in '94, they were part of the West. They went 25-4. For the first year in '93, they went unbeaten against the Rockies. Braves are on that list 3 times. This is pulled to third, and Descalso holds Mercer and gets Morton at first. And Gregory Polanco come up for the 4th time. Nationals last year had their way with the West, going 24-9. I saw them on the list.
Washington lost again tonight, 4-3 to Baltimore. Angels beat Houston 6-5. Minnesota's ahead of Cleveland 2-0. That's in the wild card implications.
Polanco was fooled. Two and 1 on Polanco. Pirates have won 4 straight. Here's a telling number. They scored 4 or more in every ball game in this series. Actually, at least 6 or more in every game in this series. But when they score 4 runs or more this year, they're 72-14.
Well, that's a large part of the starting rotation, and they turn it over to that bullpen. That bullpen's solid.
To Polanco. Puts 2 men on for Josh Harrison, who's got 2 hits tonight. missed from Harrison. 1 strike on former Cincinnati Bearcat. When Clint took this program over, George, they had lost 105 games previous season.
Well, then it was an attitude switch that wasn't going to happen overnight. It wasn't going to happen. I mean, some of the players obviously they drafted had to come through. You got Cole as a starter. You got things that happen here that make your team good. And Pittsburgh was willing to spend a little bit of money and plug in some guys and help Clint get what he needed to get.
Yeah, and you don't hit 1,000 in all the moves. You don't come close to hitting 1,000 in the draft. There's some bunch of ones that didn't work out for the Pirates. Fortunately for them, Garrett Cole is hit, and they have at the front end, because of Liriano's success now and rebirth, if you will, in Pittsburgh. They have 2 front end guys that are a handful.
It's nice to run out there when you get in the playoffs. Run those 2 guys if the rotation falls that way. The top 2, punch out by Friedrich and Linden here in the 5th.
Yep, good job by Christian. He strikes out Harrison. We'll go to the bottom of the 5th. 7-2 Pirates. Sports is brought to you by the Ford Escape. Smart, safe, and fun to drive. Ford Escape, go further. By Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by CenturyLink, your link to what's next. 7-2 Pirates as we go to the bottom of inning number 5. Wednesday night at Coors Field. Busy week for the Rockies. The final homestand of the year. A 10-gamer in all. The Rockies playing 4 against the Pirates, and the Dodgers come to town, and neither Greinke or Kershaw scheduled. I did mention a moment ago, as he's fouled off by Dickerson, that Greinke was scratched tonight with a calf injury. Ball to deep right center. He's got a chance to get on out of here, and it will. Long home run to the back wall of the bullpen on the visitor side. 7-3. Dickerson 7.
There's just a tremendous amount of bat speed when Corey Dickerson swings the bat, much like it is for Cargo. It brought the Rockies fans in a in a game they haven't had a whole lot to cheer about, to get on their feet and cheer for Corey Dickerson. Changeup. That's been the pitch that's been hit hard tonight. Corey just went down and got this. It's a big, long, powerful swing with a long follow through, and this ball just carried out. McCutcheon knew it off of the bat. He just turned to watch the flight as it hit into that back wall of the bullpen.
Here's Cargo. And this is looped to left. This is going to drop. And Cargo with a hard turn will stop at first. So nobody out, a man on, a run in. Morneau coming up. Justin had a base hit his last time.
Don't forget Sunday, it's the last bike to the game day, so make sure you get that with the Dodgers in town. You can park at Gate E in the bike lot and enter to win prizes. Rockies.com/green.
If you're late joining us, Nolan Arenado not in the lineup tonight. He is okay. Walt said he was looking to give him a day anyhow, and obviously that dive in the 9th inning last night to jarred his head gave him all the more reason to give tonight off.
A tough play too. Man. Tell it just dazed him immediately. I mean, this is just the middle of the face, right on the nose.
How about another knock for Justin Morneau? I said it a few days ago, it bears repeating. Justin has proven, I don't think he had to prove it to himself, but he's proven to the baseball world as Nolan looks on. He can still swing it and he's healthy. Some question marks, probably even for Justin early on, whether or not he'd be able to return. Neck and head issues from a situation earlier in the year. It's plagued him in the past, but boy, he's coming out and really swinging it here in September.
Swinging a magic wand. Terrific back control.
DJ again, nobody out. This is what Murphy did, and Murphy's on deck with runners at first and second, nobody out. He laid down a bunt. The Rockies, they need traffic. They're down by 4 runs. Like that thought by DJ. And he's such a good hitter with 2 strikes. Harrison's behind the bag right now. It wouldn't surprise me to see him do it again on an 0-1 count. 1-1. Joe Blanton throwing for the Pirates in their pen.
Clint knows you're playing with fire. The Rockies have left 5 on base the last 2 innings.
This is bounced over the mound slowly, and Mercer will get LeMahieu. Moving into scoring position, Cargo and Morneau. Murphy's showing some electricity in the bat. Bunt single last inning.
Well, he has the ability to leave the yard. There's no question about it. He got one the other night. Drove it into center field off the top of the dugout. Got a high fastball the first night in here and sent it up the bleachers about 35 rows. That would be really sweet about right now.
Two strikes. This ball lifted to deep left field. Way back, got a chance, gone. 3-run home run, Tom Murphy. And now the Rockies are down just a single point.
Like I said, it'd be really sweet. 3 home runs, 8 RBIs now for Murphy.
He played little ball last inning when it was necessary. He plays big time baseball there with a big fly to left.
Yeah, breaking ball he left right in the middle of the plate. All you can do is watch it. All Clint can do is watch it out of the dugout as it took flight and left the ballpark. Yeah, you get your bullpen to shut down. You get to hang around, and something good might happen. But for Clint, we've seen enough. He'll go get Joe Blanton. That is the 6th start now. He wanted 4 coming in these last 5 starts with a mid-5 ERA, and he looked like Cy Young the first 2. 7-6, the Rockies trail it. 1 out here in the bottom of the 5th.
After every Rockies victory, get 50% off your online order at Papa John's. The promo code's RocksWin at papajohns.com. Well, the Rockies were down 7-1, and now they are within a run at 7-6 after the 3rd home run from Mr. Murphy. Tommy Murphy with a 3-run home run. Now Descalso to face the former Philadelphia Philly Joe Blanton.
It has been very good for the Pirates. He's pitched in 16 ball games, 3-0, 2.00 earned run average. He had pitched in 15 games with Seattle, where he was 2-2 with a 389 earned run average. So a good pickup for the Pittsburgh Pirates with Blanton coming out of the bullpen, a long-time starter at the big league level, now working out of the bullpen.
ground to second. Walker's got it. 2 outs. Bring up Brandon Barnes. Rockies trying to snap a 3-game losing streak. 2-3 on this final homestand. .33 and 43 at home this year. Barnes reaches. Christian Adames has come out. Grabbed the bat. Well hit to center, but McCutchen is there. That'll end the inning. The Rockies score 4 times in the 5th. Corey Dickerson got it started with a golf shot of about 420 feet. And then Murphy pulled his hands in, hit a 3-run jack. 7-6 now. Good news is, during the commercial break, evidently Brandon Barnes, when he hit that ball to center field, pulled up lame and had to leave the game. So Kyle Parker's come in. Kyle's now in left field, and Corey Dickerson is moved to center field. Watch the swing. He hit it pretty well. He runs out of the box in about 5 steps. All of a sudden, he pulls up. For Barnes to come out, something happened, because that guy'd run through a wall. Justin Miller will come on in the 6th inning. Christian Friedrich goes an inning and a 1/3. 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, and a hit. First time this year Dickerson's been in center field. And I'm sure this is the last thing Walt wanted to do. You got the guy who had off-season knee surgery in right field in Cargo, and you have a guy battling plantar fascia now in center field in Dickerson. There's the alignment. Dickerson's got 25 games in the big leagues in center field, so it's not foreign to him. Here's the 0-1 to McCutchen, 1-1. 2 balls and a strike on McCutchen.
On the other side of that, too, if you want to put the left-handed bat in there, and Polson, you'd used him, so he was gone.
2-2. You look at how McCutchen holds the bat. A lot of guys wrap their sometimes their pinky or rest the knob in the palm. He's not choked up, but he's up about a half an inch, quarter inch.
A lot of guys have the knob cut to fit the ball back of their hand too. And the guys that really grip down on the knob of the bat, a lot of times they have that hamate bone injury because of the pressure against that area there.
The finger issues Cargo had last couple of years. Had to readjust his grip a little bit.
Last 27 batters faced. Think about what I'm getting ready to say, folks, about Justin Miller. 27 batters faced. Struck out 14. He's given up 1 hit.
I mean, he's on some kind of roll. Let's go back to the top of the 5th inning for a moment. Brandon Barnes on defense. See if he hurts himself. He had to slide there to stop the baseball on the double by Mercer. And he kind of grimacing there. So you know what? He tweaked something on defense and then obviously exacerbated it on that swing. Good catch by our crew in the truck. Starling Marte, single, 2-run double. Has this guy made an out, Dougie, in the series? He had like 2 outs. He had a 4-hit day on Monday. Last night he had 2 hits and a walk. So he's got 9 hits in 3 games. Woo! 0-2. One time the Rockies got him out on Monday, hit a ball almost to the wall in center. Nolan made a good play on him to get him out last night, and then he had a fly ball to center as well. So I mean, he's barreled virtually everything. It's fun coming to the ballpark when you're swinging it like that.
Yeah, the average jumped up. It's 290 now. 18 home runs and 535 at bats. 77 RBIs.
Oh-2. Slider in the dirt. Well, earlier the Rockies announced that Jorge De La Rosa, who's supposed to start tonight and has tendonitis in his Achilles, will be shut down for the rest of the year, so he finishes at 9-7 this year. And John Gray also has hit his innings limit, so John will finish his first taste of the big leagues at 0-2 with a .553. He had a .260 on the road, but over an 8 at home. This is in the air to Dickerson, and the old line applies again, right?
Ball's going to find you. That was a pretty easy one.
Yeah. Walker has had quite a night. Drove in 2 at the single in the first. He had a 3-run home run to right in the 3rd. Walked in the 4th. Bunt goes foul. Walker's been around long enough, George, former first-round pick, that only Bill Mazeroski has more home runs than Walker among Pirates second baseman all time. Look who's here. That guy could play a little baseball.
Yes, he could.
Played in the New York Penn League. Leone Ante Yankees. John's club's 2-0. Great defense. Still trying to find themselves on the offensive side of the ball. I haven't said that in a long time.
but you said the right thing. 2-0.
That's the bottom line, isn't it? The Lions on Sunday. I don't know if they're going to have Stafford. One and two on Walker. And a ground ball to Reyes. Good inning for Justin Miller. We have said that frequently here in September. Rockies down just a run as they come up in the bottom of the sixth. Game recap. The Pirates jumped out to a 5-0 lead. They're up 7-1, and the Rockies have closed with the long ball. Tom Murphy and Corey Dickerson last inning. Dickerson is a solo shot. Murphy a 3-run home run. He's accumulated 3 already since being called upon to help out the Rockies catching situation when the Rockies lost not only Mike McHenry earlier, but more recently when they lost their starting catcher, Nick Huntley. Christian Adames is going to pinch hit and lead things off in the 6th inning. And Joe Blanton changes speeds.
Yeah, he's just trying to get through the 6th inning now. Clint Wood, and then he'll go to that right side of his bullpen. You'll see Watson, you'll see Melanson if it's this same score in the 9th inning. Mix match his way through the 7th. Soria's pitched 2 nights in a row. I don't know if you'll see him again. Rockies fans, stop by your local dugout store during the month of September for the end of the season sale with great store-wide savings. That's right. Call 303-832-TEAM for a store location next to you.
Jose Reyes is 0 for 3. Ground out in the 3rd inning, produced a run. 330 lifetime average against the Pittsburgh Pirates for Reyes.
We've seen Blanton an awful lot. 6 for 33 in his career. During the Mets and Phillies days.
Both teams in double figures in hits, 11 for the Pirates, 10 for the Rockies. Two and two. Bring up Dickerson. Dickerson, not only the home run, but a single in the third. So Corey's 2 for 3. Here's that home run he hit. It's vintage Dickerson, George, below his knees.
Yeah, it is, but it's a changeup he read well out of the hand, and Corey, a very good low ball hitter. They've had success is up. When you go down, he's got a chance to do some damage. He did it here. Blanton has faced 4, retired 4.
Pitch is down low. Pirates magic number 1. The Giants are leading San Diego. This ball's hit a ton to deep right. Polanco is playing basically on the warning track. Can't hit it harder. And Polanco makes the catch while visiting with some members of the Rockies bullpen.
Game as we go to the 7th inning. Tom Murphy just came up to the Rockies, but he has had a well-traveled 2015. Last year he got hurt in Double-A, so he started out at New Britain. You see, he was a Team USA member in between, going to Albuquerque and coming up to the big leagues. I asked him about when he found out he was going to be part of the U.S. national team this summer.
In May, they contacted me and said, hey, you know, would you like to come be the starting catcher for Team USA? It was something I didn't know exactly what was going on. I didn't even really know what the Pan Am Games were, to be honest with you. But you know, as soon as I heard, you know, the opportunity was there, I jumped all over it.
George, he told me it was a great experience. Jim Tracy was his manager, played in that gold medal game against Canada facing Jeff Francis. He will report to the Fall Instructional League right after this season ends for him here in the Bigs. I know he's got a few more games, but that's what's next on his agenda. Yeah,
and Mark, the experience is invaluable that he's receiving not only here in the big leagues, that clearly is most important, but also playing internationally. It's been a really nice season for Tom Murphy, and the organization thinks very highly of him, and well, they should. You know what? He's responded nicely in his first taste in the big leagues. Handled his catching duties well. shown the power that he's demonstrated throughout his minor league career. Rex Brothers is aboard. Francisco Cervelli with an 0-2 count. Rex strikes him out on 3 pitches. Good to see Rex pounding the strike zone there. That'll bring up Pedro Alvarez. Talking to Rex earlier today. His brother, who's in the Rockies organization, back home in Tennessee training, and also teaching pitching to young kids, which he's really enjoying.
Yeah, Hunter Brothers said fastball can run it up, and he can get it there. It can get into the mid-90s. He's a hard thrower. He looks just like Rex. He was the closer for Grand Junction from about July on.
That slider misses. 1 ball, 1 strike. Inside, 2-1 on big Pedro Alvarez. A couple fly balls and a strikeout for Alvarez. Seven, 6. Rockies within a run in the 7th.
94-mile-an-hour fastball missed down. 3-1 now.
And the 3-1 is bounced foul.
Follow the Rockies on MLB.com. At Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. At Bat is up to the minute and with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, broadcast, radio broadcast, StatCast, and more. Get MLB.com today. And there's another strikeout for Rex Brothers on an 86-mile-an-hour slider with a full count. Good for him. Rex's arm action is back to what it once was. The ability to throw the wipeout sliders, missed badly by Alvarez. Fastball velocity's back. Short, quick arm action is back.
Jordy Mercer single and a double tonight, 2 for 3. Sandwiched in between a ground ball to short. This ball just a little bit low, 1-0. Pitcher spot is next. Michael Morse is getting limbered up. If Mercer were to reach. On the ground through the left side, past the diving Jose Reyes, and Mercer has his 3rd hit of the ball game. He had a 4-hit game in this series earlier, so it will bring Michael Morse to the plate. Joe Blanton goes an inning and 2/3, 1 strikeout. Talked about this earlier, George. Very commonplace for pitchers now when there's a pinch hitter to go out and review the scouting report. Pitching coach to go out and review the scouting report, the guy on the hill. I just don't remember that happening much in the past.
Well, catchers. I mean, your catchers should know, with the hitters coming up what their strengths are and what your pitcher's strength, and you go to that and try to go get it. But you got some young catchers working for the Rockies right now that haven't been through this as much. And you're in a one-run ball game, regardless of the Rockies' record, you're trying to win every dang game you can win. Good slider for strike one at 87. That had a little more velocity to it. Rex's velocity has peaked back too. At the end of the year last year, he was more 89, 92. Pretty consistent 92, 95 now. The last at 94 in a very good location. In years past, you would have seen Rex now go to that really hard slider on the back foot of a right-hander, just bury it in there with some velocity behind it.
Where he goes here with this 1-2 pitch.
You got a 1-2. We're gonna cheat a little bit and peek. Rex decided he shook off the fastball and he went to the slider.
And he got his strikeout. He ends up striking out the side. Mercer left at first. Good inning for Rex brothers. That followed a very strong inning from Justin Miller. So the Pen doing their job, and now the Rockies will try to move ahead of the Pirates down a run mid-7.
To 10 in this ball game.
Joakim Soria, George, you were wondering if he would be available after pitching the last 2 days. He is.
He's on the hill and ready to go.
And this is where the Rockies hope to make their move. 7th inning, Cargo, Morneau, DJ LeMahieu. New first baseman. On the plus side, Sean Rodriguez goes in for Pedro Alvarez.
Program moves that are very good and stay in the right direction of what they're doing.
And Cargo's thrown out by a step. One out. Morneau, who's got 2 hits, will come up. Jeff stayed in the middle of the field. Both hits up the middle.
I thought there'd be quite a bit of history. 4 for 18, Morneau against Soria. That's the days Minnesota, Kansas City.
strike. Typically does a real good job of staying out of the middle of the plate.
You know, looking on to the 8th inning, the Rockies have Boone Logan, the left-hander, and Diaz, the right-hander, up in their bullpen.
And Morneau busting it up the line, out by a stride. That'll bring up DJ LeMahieu. Let's check our Data Strong fan photo, brought to you by T-Mobile. Very funny. Just got a report on Brandon Barnes. He had to leave the game with a mild left hamstring strain. DJ is single in the 4th, 1 for 3. That's grabbed fair because Cervelli was quick to the baseball, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Soria in the 7th. We'll go to the 8th. 7-6 Pirates. Just look back, Colorado's #1 volume Lexus dealer. In the top of the 3rd, Neil Walker already had a couple of RBIs, and then he hits a 3-run home run. And it looked like Pittsburgh was going to run away from the Rockies. They're up 7-1. But then Dickerson hit a solo home run. Rockies got a little traffic on, and Tom Murphy came to the plate. And he hit his 3rd home run in less than a week to make it 7-6. And that's where we stand right now in the top of the 8th inning. With George Frazier and Mark Stout, I'm Drew Goodman. Gregory Polanco is going to lead off. Boone Logan is now in the ball game to, in all likelihood, face just Polanco with 2 right-handed bats. Actually 3 coming after that. And Boone has been better, George, I think, in this scenario where he just matches up left on left.
Yeah, he has been. He's been very successful with it. The slider has come back very favorably for him in 33 1/3, 41 strikeouts for Boone.
The Rockies bullpen has produced 7 strikeouts tonight in 3 1/3. Friedrich pitched well. Miller pitched well. Brothers struck out the side last inning. Castro got the final out of the 4th inning in relief of Christian Bergman. It's 2-0.
Thinking into this deal with Walt, we talked to him in the 5th inning talking about because these 2 long guys have had jump into the rotation. And even though you're sitting here and you look at your bullpen, and you've got 9 guys on the right side, 4 on the left side, a 13-man bullpen, that it's still going to be taxing.
Well, because Bergman and Hale now are no longer in play.
And it shorts them up. They don't have that long guy out of the bullpen now that they can turn to eat up some innings if if you have a bad start. It jumps out on it. Makes it hard.
3-1 on Polanco, and Polanco hits this ball to deep center field. Going back is Dickerson. He leaps and makes the catch. That's a heck of a play by Corey, especially considering the wheels aren't great right now with the plantar fascia, and he hadn't been in center field in a year. Nice play.
Yeah, still all about getting a break on the baseball and making a move to get back on it. Corey's playing him shallow a little bit on the left-hand side. Second base, good run, good timing, and a good jump by Corey to get back and get to the baseball. I actually think he thought he was a little bit closer to that wall than what he actually was. But a nice catch by Corey. That's going to be it for Boone Logan.
Jairo Diaz will come on next. 1 out in the 8th. It's a 7-6 ball game. Showdown here on Root Sports. Eddie Yarborough and the Wyoming Cowboys will look to get in the win column as they take on the New Mexico Lobos in their triple option threat. It's the Lobos, the Cowboys, War Memorial Stadium in Laramie. Kickoff this Saturday, 1 p.m. on Root Sports.
Now the right-hander Diaz will come in, nobody on, and 1 out. We'll get a couple of those right-handers Drew talked about, Harrison and then McCutcheon. Hard throwing right-hander, running up to 98 miles an hour. Pitched in 15 ball games so far, and under an average of 1.35.
One and one on Josh Harrison. 2 singles tonight, 2 strikeouts, 2 for 4. That's 1 and 2.
Talked with former Rocky Rob Scahills with Pittsburgh. With elbow issue, 1st of August, came back, rehabbed it, activated the 1st of September.
Another strikeout for the Rockies pen tonight as Jairo Diaz fans Josh Harrison. That'll bring up McCutchen. Andrew is 1 for 3 and a walk tonight. Singleton scored in the 3rd. Came around on the Walker 3-run home run. Pirates this year, check this out. They're up 7-6. We're in the 8th. When they lead after 7, 73-1.
Watson, Melanson.
73-1.
Bullpen tonight for the Rockies. 4-innings pitched, 2 hits given up, a couple of walks, but they have struck out 8 so far.
The Rockies trying to change that history. The other thing that has been so noteworthy about the Pirates this year, that just misses 2 and 2, is how good they've been in 1-run games. (33-17) in 1-run games. Actually 34-17. I lost one. That's the best in the National League. Said this earlier. I mean, you got the Cubs on there, good team. Cardinals on there, obviously a good team. The greater indicator of a team's excellence is how they do in blowout games. Games of a separation of 5 or more runs. This time of year, you look that up, and the really good teams, they've blown out the opponent far more than they've been knocked around. 1-run games, sometimes you have good teams that finish below 500 in 1-run games, but have a really good record overall. Wow. Guess who walked again? It was Love. Close though. McCutchen to first. Yep, that was Love.
Great eye.
So Starling Marte, 3 for 4 will come up. Dodgers in the 5th inning with Arizona, George, 1-1. An Utley home run, a Goldschmidt home run.
Wow.
And again, Greinke not making that start. Tightness in his calf. They're going to skip him. It'll make 2 more starts. He's scheduled to. He'll go on Monday in San Francisco. He will not pitch against the Rockies. Kershaw won't pitch against the Rockies this weekend. A 1 on Marte. Ground ball to 3rd. Does Calso go the long way? Good throw. Morneau's got it, and that's all in the 8th. So we'll go to the bottom of the 8th. It remains 7-6 Pittsburgh. brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. By Saratoga Casino, so new, so you. And by Office Liquidators, offering Colorado's largest selection and lowest prices for new, used, and refurbished office furniture.
Why are you grabbing my chair? I'm trying to make a half a cup of coffee.
I saw what you were doing. Well, my dear Watson is in the ball game. Tony Watson.
Yeah, one of the better left-handed setup men in baseball, period, and maybe one of the best setup men in baseball. You see those numbers overall. 73rd appearance for him. This doesn't turn down the baseball. Give it to me. I want it, and I want it when the game's on the line. John Axford's warming up in the Rockies bullpen to come on to pitch the 9th inning.
And Tom Murphy, who has a bunt single and a 3-run home run. Trying to reach here with the Rockies down a run.
Boy, he got that change up and just unloaded on it, didn't he?
Gold to short, Mercer. Sean Rodriguez, 1 out. Descalso, a single, a walk, and a ground out. Daniel walked in the 4th. It was with the bases loaded. Picked off his 22nd RBI. Back up the middle, Watson somehow came up with that baseball.
And you tell you in the dugout, guess what? Had it the whole way. Watson has 39 holes right now, and that leads the major leagues. Let's take another look at this play. Ball hit hard, Descalso found leather. The leather didn't find the ball. The major league record is 41. Joe Peralta, he's ex-Rocky, 2013 had 41 holes for Tampa Bay. If he's able to hold this here, obviously he would get number 40 here tonight.
Kyle Parker swings at the first pitch, and Mercer has it. Short and quick for Tony Watson through the Rockies in the bottom of the 8th. We'll go to the 9th. 7-6 it remains. Pirates by a run. John Axford will be on the mound when we come back.
Field, Jenny Kavnar with you. Coming up, we're going to talk about the Tommy Knocker. Tom has 3 home runs in 6 games. That's pretty good for Tom Murphy, the catcher. And we'll talk about Steel City. The Rockies are trying to steal one away from the boys from the Steel City as they're trying to clinch a postseason spot. We'll also get you inside the clubhouse. And I promise my friends, Jason and Jeff, will join me, Drew. So don't you worry.
No,
they're on their way. And George.
Yeah, see, I'm a little worried. Where are they?
They're on their way.
Where
I see them
they?
running really quickly behind the camera.
Yeah, right.
They're coming.
Yeah, they better be. Don't leave you hanging like that.
We'll see you guys
I'm
after the
not
game.
going to put up with it.
Jenny, thank you. We will see you in a little bit. And John Axford is on in the 9th inning, trying to keep it a 1-run game, give the Rockies a legit chance in the bottom of the 9th.
51 innings, 56 punch-outs, 27 walks. He'll get Neil Walker to lead off the ball game, or I should say lead off the 9th inning with Francisco Cervelli, and then you'll get one of the left-handers, I would think. Probably Snyder or Ishikawa will come off the bench.
7 pitcher out of the bullpen tonight. Really 8, because Bergman was making an emergency start.
8 guys.
De La Rosa couldn't go.
Yeah, Tony's right. You saw that tweet from Tony La Russa about Yogi. And when you went to New York, and whether you're going to play, when you went in to play the Yankees, you always look forward to seeing Yogi Berra. I know a lot of people met him and saw him when he was working for the Mets. They'd see him upstairs in the lunchroom. He was always friendly to everyone, never turned down an autograph.
Neil Walker, 2-run single, 3-run home run, a walk, and a ground ball to short. And Axford misses inside at 97, ball 1. Pirates' pen has rapidly become a big story in this game, George.
I had to pick it up. Morton had a 7-1 lead and it disappeared. Blanton came in, shut things down.
Well,
Soria, they haven't given up a hit yet.
They haven't given up a base runner. 11 they've seen and 11 they've set down. What makes a good manager? Well, there are a lot of things, but a good bullpen is one.
Escalates it very quickly.
Yeah. One key element. I'll tell you that. Every manager will tell you that. 1-1 on Walker.
It's just that confidence that you can sit there and hand the ball to a guy and go, okay, we got hits on the right-hand side. I got these guys. I've said this a couple of days now. The left-hand side, I got these guys. If you want to get to the right side, you know what? Then you do better on the left side. And I'll move you on over there. But for right now, this is who we have. But to make all of that work through, you've got to have starting pitching that gets you to that area. If you don't have the starting pitching, then you're not going to get there.
Well, George, listen, you played a long time in the big leagues, played for a number of teams, a lot of successful teams. One of my favorite Clint quotes, and he's got a lot of them, we all know that. One of my favorite Clintisms is about the big leagues. This isn't the try-hard league, this is the do-good league.
Well, it is. I mean, it's all about wins and losses and outs. I mean, you know, base hits. I mean, it's all about those things. The try-hard leagues down in the lower minor leagues. You start to develop some guys. I think it's very important that you win at the upper minor leagues, in my opinion. I think you breed that. Pitchers learn to win. I think it's important that pitchers learn to get out of tough spots. In the 6th inning, you give up a couple of base hits, you got one out, and you look up, here comes somebody out of the bullpen. No, you figure it out. It's only going to pay dividends down the road.
It makes sense what you say.
Well, it's a lot of old school thought process, but it's just, I don't know. Watched a lot of ball games in the from high school, college, junior college, pro ranks, in the minor leagues, a lot of games.
This is a huge chopper. Axford's going to have to go quick. Yeah, he can't get it. So Walker has his 3rd hit of the night. That came right off a home plate. Hey, here's our CenturyLink link to what's next. Tomorrow afternoon, it's an afternoon ball game. We're on the air with the pregame show at 12:30. Left-hander Jeff Locke for the Pirates, and another look at Chad Bettis.
You got to be excited what Chad's done, that's for sure.
Yeah, look, George, look at that. I mean,
8-5 right now.
You told me this when we first started working together doing college baseball 20 some odd years ago, that for you with a starting pitcher, wins were important. It showed you that you had the gumption to hang in there and find a way to get victories. Now, on a club that begins play tonight, 25 games beneath 500, Chad Bettis is 3 games above 500.
Right.
And the same thing, listen, we've always said about De La Rosa, and unfortunately Jorge can't go the rest of the year, but he's going to finish, you know, an abbreviated season because he missed the first month. But 9-7. Once again, he wins more than he loses.
Absolutely does, and I think that's the big surprising thing that people don't realize. That you get a ball club going, and yeah, don't get me on the soapbox. I'm about developing winning, developing about innings, horses. not racehorses. Talking about big horses on the mound.
Maxford just holding the baseball, and it's a dilemma of sorts for not only the talent evaluators but the front office people that have to assemble a roster, because you have more power arms and bullpens now, guys that, you know, on the really good teams that they can command high 90s stuff. Cervelli takes outside.
And
so
I get that.
And so you say, well, listen, if I can get 6 good ones out of my starter, though, you know, old school people just cringe at that thought. I have 3 guys that are really tough to hit. We've seen it work with the Dodgers a few years back. Kansas City Royals right now.
Pittsburgh Pirates.
You know, the Pirates aren't, you know, far away from that. And so you understand that. But by the same token, I think it teaches a generation of starting pitchers that, hey, if I go 6 innings, man, and give up 3 runs, it's a good day. That's a base hit for Cervelli. Walker to stop at second.
Well, I mean, again, we're back to that thought process. You can sit here and beat this up all you want to, but I just think that guys got to figure things out. And I always look for things that's what's missing in a guy that's 500 or struggling. What's he need to do at the minor league level? Is there a pitch that we're not teaching? Is there a pitch or something we're not showing you? Where's his mentality through this? And I think that's the hard thing, you know, is to pick all that.
George Travis Snyder is going to pinch hit here in the pitcher spot. First and second, nobody out. Snyder got a lot of pop.
He's got a little young Matt Stairs body.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, that's one thing about scouts. They tell you to make, you know, your front office, make me a comparison of a guy in years past or somebody that's now when you're doing amateur stuff. Who do you think he can be?
1-1. Threw in that good curveball. Tried it again, missed. 2-1. Hits tonight for the Pirates, 10 for the Rockies. Pirates have hit better than 340 in this series. And hopefully the Rockies can get one. They do. That's a great play by DJ to stay with it. He had the glove blind flip to Reyes. And even if he comes over that cleanly, George, he's only going to get one. So it's basically what was going to occur.
Now Broxton's going to come on a pinch run here for Clinton again tonight. Dick Labor letting you know you got one out and not in front of you. This high chopper is going to get short hop. You know, DJ got a little bit caught in between there, coming to try to catch the high hop to make it an easier flip, but he does the short hop, scoots out of the end of the glove, and then he just kind of looks back with the glove, makes the pick, and flips it to get the out. That's a nice play. Yeah, not a whole lot different between the two clubs tonight with runners in scoring position. Pittsburgh 3 for 8, the Rockies 3 for 9.
Jordy Mercer 3 for 4.
Mercer 0 for 2 in his career versus Axford.
Mercer's had a great year against the Rockies. He's 11 for 19 this season.
Axford has been able to induce 3 double plays all year. It'd be a good time for another one. Slider in the dirt at 92, blocked by Murphy.
It's 3-0. Ball 4 on 4 pitches. That loads the bases for Sean Rodriguez. The 5th walk issued tonight by the Rockies. Initial at bat for Rodriguez. Steve Foster going out. Jason Gurka just rose and grabbed the baseball.
More about pitch count. They watch this closer. They'll never let him get above 25. He's at 17 with 1 out.
There's a strike. Big swing and a miss, 0-2.
Whenever you're kind of a guy that backs up or gets those at bats, late in the ball game, because you're a defensive replacement, you're typically a really good fastball hitter, but you don't handle the breaking ball well. Slider strike 1, Captain Hook strike 2.
This is left up, and it's hit a long way left center field. Parker can't get it off the middle of the wall, and now it's a track meet to the plate, and it's going to score 3. Rodriguez has blown it open with a 3-run double on an 0-2 pitch.
A hanging curveball right in the middle of the plate.
Mercer followed Broxton, who followed Walker to the plate.
16 RBIs now. Well, it changes the whole course of this ball game in a hurry. Watch this curveball, though. Never got down in his zone. Stayed right up on belt high. And he missed it just enough to keep it in the ballpark. And then it's off to the races. The youngster pinch ran. And everybody took off. Rick Sofield was just waving the whole time. Now Walt's going to go to the bullpen with 1 out. Jerka's loose.
So a rough outing for Axford. The inning began with the Rockies within a run at 7-6. Now with 1 out, they're down 4 again. 10-6. '15 season real time, and the Rockies covered all year long with players mic'd up, interviews with your favorite players, trips down to the minor leagues as well. It's the best of Rockies real time, and it's this Friday after the Rockies take on the Dodgers.
Jerka's going to come on into the ballgame. His 7th appearance, 5 2/3. He had 2 shutout, 2 perfect innings the other night. Earned run average at 7.94. And he'll get Polanco in the top of the order. Sure, you gave me that. I know I just pronounced it wrong.
Gurka. There you go.
What they call it? Jerka? Yeah, Gurka.
You're making him a relation to Jed Jerko.
But I apologize.
He's not related to Jed Jerko.
I know. And actually talked to him for a while in the field today.
I call him right fielder.
No, don't call him.
Well, he made the appearance there. He did well.
All the other pitchers were standing around today. They go, yeah, he got to play in the field. I said, it's because he power shags. He shows the talents what he's got. You guys stand out there, and if it rolls by you, you pick it up.
You used to do that. You used to
I
power
love
shag.
The power shag. It's the best running drill you could have.
When you used to run.
Gidry tough. Gidry's best center fielder that never got to play center field except one game. The Pine Tar game played center field.
You pitched. He played center.
He played center. Mattingly played second.
Move back up the middle, and that's on through. And here comes Rodriguez with the 11th run. Nobody's covering second. Wow. And Polanco takes advantage.
49 RBIs for him now. That run will be charged to John Axford, 4 1/3 of an inning of work. Ball's hit right back up the middle. You got to remember now, DJ was playing over on the right side as a pull, and so that's where Morneau went for the cutoff, and then he's the one that had to sprint to get there. Yeah, it wasn't going to happen. Ooh, man, he's lucky he didn't get hurt. Bad.
Yeah, that was ugly. Now the question is, for the Pirates, is he okay, or is he being brave?
He's all right. Clint hasn't hesitated to go to his bench. He's got quite a few there also.
To score that a straight double, by the way. Keep a book with us at home. Well, this is beyond disappointing. Rockies were down 7-1, and you give them a lot of credit. They pushed their way back into the contest. They get it to 7-6. The bullpen for the Pirates does a good job, but you know,
for the most part, the bullpen. Most part, bullpen has done a good job here for the Rockies too until here in the ninth.
Yep, and unfortunately for Axford, it was a rough outing, and now it's a 5-run lead again for the Pirates. They were up 5-0 after 2.5 tonight. Josh Harrison up for the 6th time in a 9-inning game. Drives one to right center field. That'll get Polanco home. Third hit of the night for Harrison. And it's turned into a blowout. Runs, 17 hits for the Bucs.
All of it exploded. 5 runs here in the 9th inning. Fastball away on a Subaru Supermo, driven into right center field. Easily scores Polanco. As Dickerson cuts it off to keep the double play in order. You hope you get a ground ball to shut down the inning. The only people on the right side of the infield right now is Morneau and Harrison.
On McCutcheon. Mike McHenry tomorrow is going to join us for a couple innings, a former Pirate.
We're excited to hear about what he thinks of his time with the Pirates, and then also the rehab of the knee. I know the brace is still on time that he's walking around with, so that's been difficult.
Tonight, fly ball to center, a single, a walk, a strikeout, and another walk. McCutcheon may end up with 100 walks this year. He's at 92. 2-2, 3-2. Rockies have used 9 pitchers tonight. They used 12, and guess who walked again?
Yeah, I saw that.
They used 13 pitchers if you include Gurka playing right field in that 16-inning game at Dodger Stadium. 12 of the pitchers actually pitched.
That's a 16-inning game. It's a 9-inning game.
That's exactly right. Gurka has allowed a double, a single, and now a walk, and Starling Marte will be the 9th man to come up here in the top of the 9th inning. Single, single, double, fly ball to center, and a ground ball to third for Starling Marte. His average of 289. What would that be about, George? Because you just had a meeting on the mound to pitch Bryant.
I'll probably runner at second base. You see the right sign. He may have called him what he wanted. First, second sign, third sign. Could have rolled it over and he threw the pitch and it was fouled off and it wasn't what he called. I went out and I said, hey, we just talked about this. Can you see what I've got going on? Tommy Murphy has his fingernails painted. Or those little stickers they put on there so you can see it. Somebody's got something in their eye. Other than his eyeball.
Okay, Yogi.
Well, I mean, you know, come on. Got something in his eye. Yeah, that was not on purpose. You knew what I meant.
We always knew what Yogi meant also.
No, you didn't either. Trust me. Everybody was kid. Hey, kid. You can see Whitey Ford. Hey, kid.
We forgot his name.
It's one of my most, I told you earlier, that's one of my most prized possessions I have. Yogi on a baseball with Mickey Mantle, Joe DiMaggio, and Don Larson. It's the fourth signature for the perfect game.
Remember when I was by the house several years back on my way to Stillwater?
I didn't let you in the house.
Remember that? Parker and I went out and had a catch in the backyard?
No.
He took that baseball.
Did you? Did you? Yeah. Let the dogs get it?
Yeah. Here, fetch.
Yeah. Time you come to Oklahoma, we check your passport.
Is that right?
That was a good story, though, because I picked you up and made it to game time.
We did.
You got right on time.
Close.
No, it was right on time. Just because the light was on for the open doesn't mean anything.
One ball, one strike. One ball, two strikes on Marte. Still just one out. Neil Walker, who started the inning out with that big chopper off the plate, he's on deck. And a strikeout of Marte. So Gurka gets a second out. Walker comes up for his sixth at bat. He has 3 hits, single, 3-run home run, also a walk tonight. He's driven in 5. Third time in his career he's done that. I like when Doug's messing with the Elias Book of Baseball records. Most pitchers in a game, in a 9-inning game, 10. Once in the American League, Baltimore in 2004. It's happened 3 times in the National League. The Rockies against the Padres in 07. St. Louis against the Pirates in 07. The Mets against the Phillies in 2012. Rockies have used 9 tonight.
Caminero, the right-hander, is up now. Melanson has taken his seat in that bullpen.
Archimedes.
You practiced that name for a while, didn't you? Tell the truth.
No, you know what?
Yeah, you did.
Just for a couple of weeks. 3-1 on a walker. Ground ball through the left side, base hit, and Harrison will come home. Cutchin stops at second. It's a 6-run 9th inning, 13-6.
almost 6 RBIs now for Walker. That's a career high. As he drove that ball out of the reach of Jose Reyes, and Harrison came around to score. Well, now you've Cervelli at the plate. The youngster Broxton's in the on-deck circle. He pinch ran for Snyder when this inning started about an hour and a half ago, and so he would be getting his first major league at bat. Is that correct? Yes.
Yeah, you're right. A 1 on Cervelli. That misses. Last Pirate to produce 6 ribbies in a game, Garrett Jones, in August of 2012.
I'm really happy for Garrett. Is he still with the Yankees? No, he's down in Florida.
No, he's
in Miami.
That's a base hit. And
nice move by Sofield.
Rick Sofield was calling off the dogs. I mean, McCutchen could have scored backwards, and he stopped him at third. You know, in some ways, yeah, I mean, you respect what Rick Sofield did, but you know, that really stinks from Rockies side when you get the mercy treatment.
It's not fun.
No. So Keon Broxton, the kid, will make his first plate appearance. We've seen him in every game this series. Clint's used him on the base paths to pinch run.
First time he's got to wear gloves and a helmet.
That's right. Well, he's worn the helmet on the base paths, but now he gets to wear one at the plate.
He's thinking in his mind, I get a base hit, I get RBIs, all kinds of things can happen here.
Yeah, 25-year-old.
I don't want to strike out, though.
He had a scholarship to play football, I believe, at Florida Atlantic, and baseball. He's quite a high school wide receiver. Got that build, doesn't he? 6'3", 195. Bases loaded. Here's the 1-0. That's a strike. 1 and 2. All the Pirates on the top step of the dugout watching this young man get his first at bat. They all remember theirs. He's the 12th man to come up in the inning. Again, when the inning began, it was 7-6. Pirates have 19 hits now. Seven in the inning. And the strikeout of Broxton finally ends the inning. 6 runs for the Pirates. They're up 13-6. tacos. Fans, follow at @RootSports_RM on Twitter to receive alerts for the Rockies taco special when the Rockies score 7 in a game. Couple changes to tell you about for the Pirates. Keon Broxton stays in the game for Polanco in right field, and Archimedes Caminero, who throws 100 or so, will throw the 9th inning. Rafael Noah is going to hit first, 9-1-2.
Had a big high thrower, 70 in a third, 72 strikeouts, 28 walks, on run average, mid-3s. He's pitched in a series already, was successful. Get Noah, then he'll get Rios and Corey Dickerson, 3 lefties in a row.
Rockies have not had a base runner since Tom Murphy was jogging around the bases when he hit a 3-run home run to get the Rockies within a run at 7-6. 11 in a row set down by that Pirate bullpen, and swung on and missed by Inoa. It's 0-1 against Caminero. Pirates are 3 outs away from guaranteeing their 3rd straight trip to the postseason. Fortunately for them, the Cardinals won big again tonight, 10-2 over Cincinnati. So in that division, they are still 4 back. Got a big series with the Cubs coming up in Chicago over the weekend. Cubbies lost to Milwaukee. It's going to be big for the Pirates. It's a separation. In all likelihood, it'll be 3 games when they wake up tomorrow morning between Pirates and Cubs. Pirates have an outside chance, George, of winning 100 games if they stay hot. It's fouled off of Cervelli. Good news for you, Francisco, is in all likelihood you get the day off tomorrow.
Well, the worst thing you'd have happen right now, though, you just don't want an injury like this in a 13-6 game. Yeah, it's like got him right in the muscle. So you're throwing a 99-mile-an-hour fastball. It gets foul tipped off and just whack.
Which is like basically saying, here, I'm going to hold my arm out here, throw it as hard as you can, and let's see how that feels.
Yeah, there'll be a little ice bag on that when the game ends.
All in a day's work for a catcher. 1-2 on Inoa. That was 100, but it missed. 2-2. Remember, he came in the other day, fell behind 3-0. I think it was against Nolan. He almost hit Nolan in the head with his first pitch. And then his 3-0 pitch, you know, the get it over fastball, that was 100.
Yeah. Rawley's like, okay, I'm keeping my arm tucked behind this glove. I'm telling you that right now.
This ball's well hit left center field. Really well hit. Off the top third of the wall, Inoa's got himself a double.
101-mile-an-hour fastball, and he just caught up to it. You like stuff, you like velocity, when you know it's coming, you can do some damage. That's 101. You haven't seen that in this ballpark other than when Chapman's throwing from Cincinnati, and it's got movement to it too. Good for Rafael Inoa.
pitcher's going to supply the power, right?
Sure is, but you got to hit it.
Bring up Reyes. Jose's 0 for 4. Drove in a run in the third with a ground out. Dickerson a solo home run in the fifth. Murphy a 3-run home run. The other RBI to Discal, so he walked with the bases loaded. Reyes swings and misses. That's the first base runner for the Rockies again since Murphy hit the 3-run home run in the fifth.
Guy that's really going to thank him for that is Corey Dickerson. He can pick off an RBI pretty quick.
Dickerson 2 for 4. His last at bat, he lined out to the wall and right. So Corey's really swinging it. One on Dickerson. Dickerson got the barrel out on 100 right there.
Got the barrel out and he almost got the back of the head of Cervalli at home plate with that long swing that he has. And say, well, why get so far up underneath the hitter? It's not so much far in the hitter. That bat's 34 inches long. You got a little bit of swing to it. Cervalli stayed really low.
Touch 101 again. Arizona and the Dodgers still tied in the 8th inning at 1. Whoa. Dickerson looking back at Cervelli. That is pulled to the corner. That is extra bases. Dino will score. Dickerson has a double. That's 13-7. Boy, he has swung the bat tonight.
To talk about the loss all year and injuries to the pitching staff, this was a big loss to start the year too. And Corey battled the injuries throughout the year, now feeling almost 100% healthy. The bat's really healthy.
Cargo 1 for 4. Well, a reminder, fans, you get tacos tomorrow. Go to your participating Taco Bell locations between 4 and 6. Cargo lifts this ball to left center field. For a second, I thought they were going to have a little miscommunication, but it was handled out there by Marte. 2 outs. It's down the left field line, and it's foul. A lot of Pirate fans gathered behind the Pirates dugout. 20 years without sniffing the postseason. And they're a strike away from a guarantee of going for their 3rd straight year. One and two on Morneau. And it slowly hit the short. Mercer will get it, and that's it. The Pirates have won it, and they're headed to the postseason again. 13-7 the final score. Hugs all around for Clint Hurdle and his club. Pirates pretty subdued as they win for the 92nd time this year. Just 92-60, that's all. 32 games above 500. First time since the Jim Leland 3 straight division titles in the early 90s that the Pirates are headed to the postseason 3 straight years. Joe Blanton gets the victory. He's now 4-0. He came on in relief. And Christian Bergman takes the loss. He is 3-1. Our Jimmy John's delivery of the game. Neil Walker had a career night. 6 RBIs in the first inning. He had a 2-run single. And then he hit a 3-run home run in his next at bat. He added an RBI late in the ball game. On that base hit, Neil Walker 4 for 5, 6 RBIs. Again, the final score, the Pirates win it tonight 13-7 over the Rockies. Stick around, the Toyota postgame show is next.